Brian Van Noornstrand says, what do you charge for lessons? I don't charge anything for lessons. I don't have my flight instructor rating. I fly at commercial standards. I'm just a private pilot. I get the commercial rating in a day, I think. But I don't have the flight instructor rating. And the main reason I don't have that is not because I'm actually a very good flight instructor, and I've given a fair amount of flight instruction to people that's not loggable because it's not official, but I understand this. I'm very good at teaching this. The main reason I don't want the flight instructor rating is not because it's hard to do the flight instruction. I'd love to do the flight instruction. I'd love to be a flight instructor. The thing that I think keeps me away from the rating is the flight instructor has to be so up on the regulations, and the regulations change so frequently, and there's so damn many of them, that it is essentially a full-time job, keeping track of what you need to know and what's changed, and FARs, or the Federal Aviation Regulations, a book this thick, and every year a new one comes out. I don't have the interest or the time to do that. Dave Big Booty wants to know if the L-35 flight was my first time in a jet. It was my first time in a turbine. It was the first time I ever logged turbine time. I got to log turboprop time in the Starship a month and a half ago, or 2 months ago, doing the Oshkosh run. But I got 1.1 hours in turbine time, 1.1 second in command. And I flew the plane for 15 minutes maybe. Well, about that. And I was very happy with how I flew it, although I'd like to clean those up. And we'll do it next time. We'll go in again. So that's another thing about pilots, too. When you got a guy in the back seat or a passenger, or wherever the passenger is, if the passenger's having a blast and I was screaming at the top of my lungs, then, in a good way, screaming at the top of my lungs, then they want to fly with that guy again, because it reminds them why they do it. And when you go up there and you have somebody who's enjoying it as much as you do, it's a great feeling. I remember I went for a flight with Lyda Loudon in the Sky Arrow, and we had a cloud to catch up there, which is unusual to have clouds up there. And she was really... I've flown with a lot of people, and I enjoy flying with anybody, but she was really fun to fly with because she was really into it. You're just like, yeah, this is amazing. When you do that, it's a great feeling. Samuel Martin says, how does one become a U.S. hotshot fighter pilot? Well, Samuel, one studies their tail off and works very hard and applies to and is accepted into the United States Air Force Academy, the Naval Academy, or the Marines. The cool thing about Marine fighter pilots is that, while for the Air Force and the Navy, obviously it's a unique career path, my understanding is in the Marine Corps, which is virtually all the flying the Marines do, is ground support, close air support, supporting the troops' air-to-ground attack. That's what Marine aviation primarily is. And my understanding is that you can be a pilot in the Marine Corps, but no one gets to be a Marine pilot until they are a combat rifleman. You have to walk around and spend time down in the mud before they let you up in the clouds, because you're going to be saving the lives of guys in the mud, and everybody's a rifleman in the Marine Corps. Yeah, if you want to be a fighter pilot, you've got to go to one of the service academies. That's pretty much it. Foghorn may be able to correct me on this, or somebody else may know. James Redmond just showed up. He's got a great aircraft. I don't believe you can be trained through the reserves. I kind of think that you have to, that you end up in the reserves as a result of your training. I don't think that fighter pilot training is offered anywhere other than the service academies. You'd think I would know that, but the fact that I don't know of any alternative tells me that's got to be the case. Now, the problem with that, Sam, is you not only have to study hard and you have to want it, you also have to be pretty much in perfect physical condition. And I'm not going to tell the story again, but the reason I'm here and not flying jets for the our Air Force Reserve now is because my vision was soft by as small as it could be, 5 diopters, I think. Right eye was 20/15, left eye was 20/25. The problem with my left eye was so minor that I didn't know I had a vision problem until I took this vision test. And that was it. So you got to be in top shape. And that's how you become a fighter pilot. As I said earlier, you can get an awful lot in the sims in terms of flying like a fighter pilot. And then if you're careful and shop around, you can find a private airplane that's got enough of a fighter-like feel, and I've done it with the Long Easy. James Redmond did it with the Bearcoot. Neither of us are rich kids. Neither of us had a ton of money. James spent, I don't know, it was 11 years, 23 years, something, building this in his garage. I watched him build it, and I watched him, he'd do the landing gear extension for the first time in 1996 or something like that. I was like, awesome, someday. Oh, there he is. You're 2020? Well, that's good. Hopefully everything else is good. Funny thing about the Air Force and the service academies is if you are 2020 going in, and then you go in and you take your first flight, and you've got one flight in the Air Force Academy, and then they test you again and it turns out you're 2025, they'll keep training you. You get glasses then. They've got you invested. But no. And of course today we have things like radial keratotomy or LASIK. I don't know if they accept LASIK, but I know they accept RK. So you can have your vision corrected now, and that happened about 5 years after I had my problem.